Sunday.
It's Sunday morning.
I love mornings.
The games are over, and we're breaking it all down. This is your Morning After podcast, with all the insight and analysis on the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. The Morning After podcast with Hans, Scotty, and Lloyd Cole begins right now.
And he gave us an opportunity to come in here and show what we're made of.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Let's get it. It's your Morning After podcast. Scott Gerard, Hans Olsen, Lloyd Cole. A long day of college football with BYU dropping back-to-back games, Utah suffering a heartbreaking loss, and Utah State getting a win. Aggies have now won 2 in a row. Crazy.
Long frickin' weekend.
So let's get to it, Hans. We got a lot to break down. Lloyd, you as well. Where you guys want to start, Utah or BYU?
How about we start right here? What the hell? The hell? We go into the weekend, we're like, all right, all we got, just Colorado win, Utah win, and BYU win, and it's all sealed. All three lose.
All three lose.
And it's like, and now you got this stupid four-way tie. Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, and Colorado. They're in a four-way tie. If all four win this upcoming weekend, it'll be Arizona State and Iowa State in the championship game. The way BYU gets in is if Kansas State beats Iowa State, BYU will be in against Arizona State. If Arizona beats Arizona State, then BYU will be in against Iowa State. BYU does have the tiebreaker on Colorado because of the Kansas State opponent in common. So that's your Big 12 championship breakdown at this point. Coming up this weekend, you're going to be rooting for Kansas State to be Iowa State, Arizona to be Arizona State, or a combination of the two. It really doesn't matter what happens with Colorado. They play on Friday. And that's BYU's path to the Big 12 championship at this point. And again, if all four win, guys, it doesn't matter. Then it's Arizona State and Iowa State in the Big 12 championship.
That sounds fun.
Just what a turd ball weekend. It's a big old stinky ball of turd with curly hairs in it.
It's too early to be talking like that. What are you doing?
I'm just bugged, man. I just can't believe, I had all these hopes, like Utah to get off their losing streak.
I really thought Utah was going to get it done, too. They take that late lead, 28-23, and I'm thinking, all right, here we go.
But pull it out. 1980s Atari Botari. Freaking going at it, man.
Jeez.
Digging out 40-yard runs. I'm like, here we go. And Lloyd, you get that field goal attempt. You're still thinking maybe they sneak that through and push in overtime, but what happened on that end?
I thought there was a chance with that, and they get into field goal range, and it's like this thing might go overtime. And by the way, what a weird game. This Utah game was just strange. They had 21 of their points was from defensive special teams. They only had one offensive score, one offensive touchdown. One. That's it. That's all you could muster. A Mekhi Bernard touchdown, and that was. I mean, they had the first drive. A 60-yard pass, and they're in business. They got to settle for a field goal. You had they get good field position on a turnover, and they still only another field goal. Like, that offense is just broken. It's broken, and it was like I said, 21 points from the defense and the special teams.
Well, let me just tell you how stupid this is. Again, I'm just in a bad mood because everything just completely collapsed. I am really happy.
Are you in a bad mood for bad football?
We should, yeah, I am. But we should just start with Utah State and then end with Utah State because Dim's the real winners. Dim's the real winners. MVP.
Well,
but this is
I don't know. You can't play your best football when you're out of bowl contention, for crying out loud. Where was this earlier in the year?
Scotty, at least you're getting some momentum going into the offseason. The Utah can't get any momentum going into the offseason. Isaac Wilson, he goes down with an injury. He got rolled up on pretty good, and I don't know. I'm not sure what the injury is, but that's why you had Luke Ferrari Batari come in.
Oh, dude. This is what's so stupid. Cam Rising goes down. You got Brandon Rose goes down. You got Sam Heward goes down. You've got Isaac Wilson goes down. You've got 5 quarterbacks in that room. Your last quarterback that you got was out on the field working his butt off. But what do you expect, Lloyd? I mean, I can't expect him. Isaac Wilson's trying to find his stride. Offensive line is a mix and match with Moko Fisi going out. You can't find any consistency, and your 5th-string quarterback is in. Mekhi Bernard went out at the end of that game.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay because he limped off and fell down on the sidelines. I can't even believe what Utah's suffering, man.
Utah is, and by the way, you're going to have this when Pac-12 media or Pac-12 Big 12 media day comes about. You're going to have this question again with Kyle Whittingham. What are you guys going to do differently with all the injuries that you had? You can only. I mean, his thing this year was we got a senior laden team, a lot of vets on this team, so we're going to pull back a little bit and. That obviously didn't work because they're dealing with injuries in every aspect and dang near every position. It is a cursed season for the University of Utah. And that's what it is.
Yeah, and it's ugly on so many levels.
Yeah.
So now you have Utah not bowl eligible. They will not be going bowling. They're now 4-7.
College football playoff to not bowl eligible.
To not even making a bowl
Just
game.
like that.
7 in a row after starting the year 4-0, being a top 10 team and falling this far is shocking. And I'm at the point now where I know we've been pretty much talking about this nonstop in terms of Kyle, but there's no way Kyle can shut it down now. You can't. There's no way, no possible way you can walk away from this.
No, that's the game ending you, and he's not going to let the game end him. He'll get back in the portal, and he'll get back in the game. The problem is, Scotty, now he's got to hire an offensive coordinator, and he's got to make some really tough decisions with, I'm sure, some other coaching personnel because you go 7 losses in a row, and now you're doing everything you can to get a win in Orlando against UCF on a Friday, on a short week.
Black Friday.
Black Friday on a short week on our day off, nonetheless, which I know Lloyd is working hard on.
You just can't help yourself.
You can if you just pull the trigger on it.
Scotty, not you. Not you too. I learned from watching you, okay?
Yeah, put your foot down.
It was a lot easier cracking the whip. Or it's a lot more fun not being the guy complaining about it than the guy cracking the whip. I'll say that for sure.
But they've got to go to UCF and try to find a win on a short week.
Why bother? Why try?
Man.
What's there to play for? There's nothing. Honestly, I don't want to be like Debbie Downer here, but if you're Utah, hell, roll out freshmen for crying out loud. It's not like you're blowing redshirt years or anything like that. Use this as like a spring practice game because there's nothing to play for anymore. It's done. It's over with. Don't travel half the team for crying out loud. Just let them all sit and get ready for Turkey Day because
that's not
there's
Witt's,
nothing. Yeah. There's nothing there to play for anymore.
That's not Witt's MO. You know that. But like me and Christian last night, we were talking about this and we were getting ready to come back from break, and I was like, what are they playing for right now? We had it all along, like, okay, and now maybe they can get bowl eligible, and it's like now they can't even do that. Now they don't even have that. Maybe we can see some glimpses from Isaac Wilson. Maybe we can see some growth there. You can't do that because Isaac Wilson's going to be probably done for the season. I mean, there's only why would you? The injury it looked pretty bad. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know his status, but. Why? So what do you got Batari his senior year? He's all you have left. Like, what are you doing? It's Thanksgiving. You don't get to even be home. You don't even get to be home for your Thanksgiving. You got to be which Orlando doesn't suck. Don't get me wrong, but like you're on the road for Thanksgiving. You're not with family. I don't know. It's Debbie Downer. It's a bummer.
Well, it's not much better with BYU at this point. 2 losses in a row. It is crazy that you can suffer 2 losses in a row in November and still have a chance to be in the Big 12 championship game. That's what 9-0 will get you, guys.
Yep.
An opportunity to give up 2 losses. And BYU started slow again. If we just kind of break this thing down, they started slow offensively again. They couldn't find the end zone. They get themselves 3 points in the first half. And then they crank up the motors in the second half, and they start finding soft points inside that Arizona State zone. Jake Retzloff starts dialing it in. He's moving up and down the field. They're scoring points. Everything's on the line. They're driving the length of the field for the winning touchdown. They're on Arizona State's 39-yard line. Arizona State can't stop them. They're down by 6, and Retzloff throws a pick.
Bad one, too.
Yeah, bad one. Just overthrows his slant off the left side, and it just went off the top of his finger. And Arizona State was playing right over the top of the slant, and it went right into the defender's hands. And defender ran all the way back to the 10. Retzloff did chase him down. Bless his heart, the dude, every time he throws a pick, he'll go after that defender. He'll track you down, and he isn't going to try to slide tackle you like the Alabama quarterback did. He's coming full head of steam to get you. And then, guys, the 1 second madness.
Jeez.
You're going to have to walk me through this, because I was still calling the Utah State game, and I kept looking over at the monitor. I'm like, wait a minute, the crowd rushed, and yet now they're bringing guys back. Like, I'm still blind on what happened there to end that game.
Well, it's almost too early into the morning. It's, what is it, 4:30, 5 o'clock? What is it, 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, something like that.
Anyways, it's almost too early, but I'll walk you through this. So, bizarre circumstance. Arizona State does not have a field goal kicker. They've kicked 1 field goal in the last 2 months. That's it. They don't have a field goal kicker. Kenny Dillingham, the head coach, was going to do like a tryout for his college campus for people to come out and kick. He doesn't trust them. So they're in field goal position with 12 seconds, and instead of trying to go hit a field goal, they snap the ball, and Sam Levitt, the quarterback, just kind of goes backwards and wiggles for a bit and then takes a knee. And then you're backed way up, and then it's 3rd down. And then he takes another snap, and he wiggles for a bit, and he takes a knee. And it's now 4th down, and he's on his own. No, he's on BYU's 49, and he takes a knee. And there's 7 seconds left, and it's 4th down. And you're like, geez, okay, well, what do? You punt and try to coffin corner, or do you run backwards and, exhaust the 7 seconds and then hope you don't get tackled, or what the hell do you do? Well, he takes the snap, takes 3 steps, and hucks it into the crowd, into the fans, into the stands. And because he hucks it into the stands, Scotty and Lloyd, the way the stands are slanted, it hit the stands before it would have hit the field, leaving you 1 second. But, of course, the fans thought that the clock was exhausted, and the entire stadium leaks down onto the field. You couldn't even see green grass. It was the whole stadium's on the field, and the officials are at the review booth, and they're looking at it, and they're like, nope, ball touched, and there was a second on the clock. So they take the next 15, 20 minutes getting people off the field, and Kenny Dillingham is losing his ever-living mind. But there's 1 second left, no flags. And I thought for sure there would be a storming the field flag, because I saw that Sun Devil dude out there. I saw players on the field. Dillingham was on the field. Now, there's a Big 12 rule that they won't throw flags for fans storming the field, but there is a rule that if anybody associated with the university storms the field, then it's a flag. And I can promise you I saw that stupid Sun Devil guy out there. So, and not to mention Kenny Dillingham and the whole staff, they were all out there. They ran the field. They thought they won. They thought that the time elapsed. And they don't throw the flag, and BYU ends up with 1 second on the Arizona State 49-yard line on their own 49-yard line, and they try a Hail Mary. Chase Roberts catches it at like the 2, and he just can't press forward to the end zone, Scotty. And here's the crazy thing, guys. This is what was driving me mad. They didn't even get the students back into the stands. They got them all to the sidelines and made them all stand on the edge of the sidelines. So you had the entire student body that was stacked along the sidelines and the back of the end zone while BYU's trying their final play. You can't make this stuff up.
Nice check swing.
I know it's so early. I wanted to say it, but you can't make this stuff up, man. Football is the wackiest gabagoo. And if you boil it down, guys, Kansas, they lose because a quick kick bounces off a defender's head that thought it was a pass on 4th down, and Kansas gets it on the 5 and scores. They lose that game that way. They lose this game off of an onside kick. The kicker kicks it right at one of the front lineup guys, Scotty. It bounces off his leg. Arizona State falls on it and scores 4 plays later. That's the game. That is
some wackiness the last couple of weeks. That's some wackiness.
Off of those two things. Now, look, here's the other problem. Go to Jake Retzlaff and his throw in the end zone against Kansas that was an easy pick, and then overthrowing this slant for the pick. Greg said it really well. Like these picks are hard picks. They're tough moments for interceptions, and it was another tough moment for an interception.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you suffer a loss against Houston, that would be considered another wacky moment. There's no way that happens.
Yeah, no, they're not losing.
There's no way.
On. No, don't put that out in the universe.
I'm just saying
they lose.
They don't.
No,
Houston just got blown out tonight.
Yeah, they lost 20-10 to Baylor.
Well, and here's what's going to be interesting though is that I haven't seen the game times or start times. So that game's on Saturday, right? The
8:15, I believe. I think we did see a game time.
I know it was 8:15. I'm making sure it was Saturday. So, but here's the thing: BYU will know going into that game whether or not a win gets them into the championship game or not. So you'll know based on the fact that you're starting late on a Saturday, when a lot of these games are already wrapped up, that what your situation's looking like. And if everybody's already won, then I could see BYU laying an egg because they're like, well, geesh, what are we playing for here? We know we're not in the championship game.
Do you guys know what time Arizona State, Arizona kicks and what time Kansas State, Iowa State kick? Those are the two. Those are the deciders. You need one of those two to lose. You either need Arizona State to lose or you need Iowa State to lose. And that gives you the opportunity to get into the Big 12 championship game. But I don't know what time they play. But you're probably right, Scotty, because it's not going to be 8:15 when BYU's kicking off against Houston.
6:30 Central, so 5:30 Mountain is Iowa State, Kansas State. So you'll know good. There.
We'll
and
know
then
that one.
Arizona State.
I think Kansas State, by the way, I think they get Iowa State, even though it's in Ames.
And that's at 1:30. So you'll know.
You'll know.
Fans. You'll know going into that game.
You will know.
That Iowa State game will just be wrapped up, but hopefully Arizona pulls off an upset earlier in the day, so you'll have all day for those guys to just let it simmer that, hey.
Which I don't know if that's good either, Scotty.
Yeah.
Sitting in a room all day watching football like, are we going to have a chance? Are we going to have a chance? And still, it's Houston, and Houston anybody can win in this stupid conference. This conference is so wacky. You guys got to remember that Houston earlier in the season beat TCU. They beat Utah, and they beat Kansas State.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They beat Kansas State was re-ranked at that point, and Houston beat Kansas State, if I remember right. So they beat TCU, Utah, Kansas State in conference play.
Yep, 24-19 against Kansas State.
Wait, well, they did be was Kansas State ranked at the time?
I don't know if they were ranked at the time.
Okay,
but they beat Utah and they beat Kansas State.
Kansas State was ranked, I believe.
They were?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
So look, Houston doesn't care. They'll play spoiler, just like Kansas. How about Kansas?
Yeah,
using everybody in the Big 12 like toilet paper. just it's just embarrassing.
Ranked Iowa State, win. Ranked BYU, win. Ranked Colorado, win.
And
then they'll probably lose
Baylor,
next week to Baylor.
No, they're going to get that win against Baylor and get bowl eligible.
Yeah, watch out, Baylor's 7-4.
Yeah, Baylor's put it together too. Okay, so let's just talk about this because I started out the show with it, but here's your scenarios. It's a 4-way tiebreaker, and as I mentioned, if Arizona State, Iowa State, Colorado, and BYU win, that will put Arizona State and Iowa State in the championship game. So that's the 4-way tie. If they all win, it's Arizona State and Iowa State. What BYU has to have is they have to have either Arizona State or Kansas State to lose. Or Iowa State to lose.
Yeah. And
then that will put them in the championship game. If Iowa State loses to Kansas State, it'll be BYU Arizona State in that championship game. And I think that's the most likely scenario.
Jeez. What a drunk conference this is.
Speaking of drunk, guys, what a mess. Tempe is a mess. I mean, the people that were on the field and the people in the parking lot, we wrapped up our post game and we came out. There was 3-4 ambulances with people like booked up and on IVs and puking their guts out. And I was getting in the car to leave, and there was this car that was still parked in the parking lot. And there was like 5 people around it, completely wasted. Like, oh, we're so sorry. Oh, my gosh, we're usually really rude. But, oh, it's crazy when Jesus comes in and gets beat by the devil. And you're like, you know what, you clowns? You guys are clowns. Like, what do you – just get away from me. It's been a long day. I don't want to see or smell you. Oh, and then the lady there came over and started like hanging onto my arm. She's like, "I'm just so sorry for you guys."
Oh, jeez.
The whole thing, Scotty. Lloyd, you almost had to bail me out. It was a mess, dude. The whole thing was just
hard to bail him out.
I don't know. I kind of want to see if we could do that.
Guys, I have never been closer to fighting in my life, man. I was so fed up, man. I'm like,
oh, so sorry. Oh, I feel bad.
Oh, it's crazy. And it's like you're the Sun Devils. I don't know what your play on this whole devil thing is, but if you actually think you're playing for Satan's University, you may want to double think that. Like, a Sun Devil is not the actual Spitfire devil that you have to suffer through bad sins with. Like, what are you talking about? And having those people on the field and watching Kalani try to organize his team and try to make sense of it. And
he was
Kenny
so
Dillingham,
cool in the post game, by the way. Like
so
just
cool.
Class. Like he's talking about the fans. He's like, you know what? They were excited. They won. I don't even care. Like, there was no crying about it, whatever. Like, no. He was just like, they were excited about the win. Let it be.
Kalani,
leave it alone.
He's such a first class citizen. He really is. I texted him afterwards. I'm like, how was there not a flag for them storming the field? And he just texted back and was like, it is what it is. He said, we had a bad first half. Like, Kalani just doesn't – he doesn't find excuses. He doesn't try to wiggle his way out of it. He doesn't try to make it about BYU and take anything away from Arizona State. Speaking of – did you guys see Sam Levitt's brother, Dallin Levitt? Did you see that video of him?
No.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No, I saw a video of Dillingham, who was an absolute psychopath.
And I saw the story this morning of the old man Levitt, the dad, who had nothing real positive to say about BYU. So,
what did
Dallin
Levitt? After the game, there's a video of him, and he is yelling into the camera, "Hey, BYU fans, suck on my beep."
Oh, no. Dallin.
Into the camera, and it's everywhere. It is plastered on every social media platform. I couldn't escape it. I'm going to Instagram. I was over on Facebook. It's like 3 people had posted on Facebook. I'm like, where? Why is everybody posting Dallin Levitt suggesting horrible things to people?
Don't do it. I know you're going to say, "Well, he's a former Raider, so yeah."
Oh, I would.
Don't do it.
You said it.
Yeah, I was just waiting for it.
Hey, it's safe to say the Levitts do not like BYU.
I think that's been pretty well established.
Oh my gosh, man! I just, as you guys can tell, we haven't gotten any sleep. It was a long night.
Did you see? Go ahead.
What if Rock came up to you and said, "Hey, Dad, I know that I'm committed to Utah State, but I think I'm going to go to Arizona State."
That'd be a tough one. I just know it's a party school.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what's happening down here in Tempe. It's it is not exactly peace and humility, but
no.
He would have stories to tell. All of us have good college stories. His might just be better than ours.
His would be the winner for sure.
Hey, did you
His would be the winner.
did you see our guy? Did you see PK out there?
Was he storming the field too?
Did you see
I
him?
saw PK came and took pictures at the stadium, but then quickly left. So I don't think he was actually at the game.
Oh.
He just came and took a picture.
Oh.
Stop it!
He had a tea time.
Okay, I got to tell you this, Scotty.
Did you do a pregame hit at the with him, and you heard slot machines in the background?
But yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah,
I've got a PK story time for you. But wait. Okay, are you? Should we save this for the end? Or we got some more football to break down, right?
No, let's just get it in.
Get it in? Okay.
Yeah.
So I texted PK Friday morning to come on, and just come on and said he's in Tempe, he's covering the game. So I was like, let's get him on, talk BYU and Arizona State. So he gives me a thumbs up. You know how you can do that little thumbs up on the text message in the morning. I'm like, okay, sweet, he's gonna come on. Well, then he responds to me at 12:12 because we're gonna get him on at 12:30. He says,
Yeah.
I'm really sick.
Oh, bull.
Even canceled golf. I'm in bed.
I don't think I'm going to make it.
It had such a DJ feel to it. He says, I'm really sick. Even canceled golf.
Oh boy.
I'm in bed.
Hey, no big deal, PK. I only just really needed you. It would have been really nice for you to do something to help Scott.
So you didn't see him?
Well, here's the thing. After I screwed you over, too, because I felt bad about that because my flight got moved up. And so, man, everybody's letting you down. Jeez.
Well, we got through it.
We did. We made it.
It ended up being a great show. JJ was able to pick up the slack, and then Coach Mack and Alima were good.
Heck, Mac came in just sick as can be.
Oh, Mac was hacking up a lung.
I'm like, holy cow, Coach.
And I said, you should have stayed home. He goes, Vicky doesn't want me at home. I was like, okay.
It's only a little cold.
See, that's Iron Man right there.
Yeah. He's like, stay home sick. What are you talking about?
He was
okay.
such a bad A.
Oh, jeez.
But, guys, I am at a loss for words on these last two games. And what's weird, special teams turnovers in each, and then Jake Retzloff picks in each.
Yeah.
And it's led you to an 0-2 pattern. But I do think that they figured some things out offensively that I hope translates.
They got it
to
rolling.
This game against Houston.
You just can't start out like this, though. I mean, it's just like BYU played with fire all season long, and the last two games has burnt them. And you just can't plan on those late-game heroics to bail you out every time. You got away with it in that great 9-0 start, but, it's like, you make a few deposits in the bank, and you can only make so many withdrawals until that balance is empty, and you can't go in the negative. And BYU kept making those withdrawals, and eventually they ran out of money.
They did, man. They did. And, they had some blown coverages, guys. This has been an incredible pass defense all year long, and they had a couple of blown coverages. One in particular that was a man situation, and I watched the corner come across the formation off of motion with his man. The ball was snapped, and he stalled off a backfield play action look, and the receiver ran right by him, and they dumped it over the top, and it was just a complete blown coverage. And this is one of their best DBs, and you're like, whoa, that you don't blow coverages. Like, you're a Big 12 all-conference corner. What did you see? How did you fall off that route? That was your man all the way. You fell in motion, you ran with him, and then you paused. So mistakes from guys that you're not used to seeing mistakes from.
Yeah, it just is such a kick in the gut, man. It just, you feel for what could have been for BYU, and to see it all fall apart like this is just, man. And again, you're right. They're still alive, technically.
The only way to make good on this is to beat Houston and to have a couple of chips fall your way.
Yeah.
And see if you can't backdoor your way into Arlington.
Well, there was some good yesterday, as the Fighting Bryson Barnes got a big win.
I love that kid.
Oh my goodness, he was phenomenal in this game. So let me set the scene here. Spencer Petras gets just absolutely rocked on a blitz, and at that point, Utah State makes two adjustments. Petras goes out with an injury, and then they move Wyatt Bowles from left guard to left tackle, from right guard to right tackle. Make some adjustments at right tackle, and that offensive line shores up. And then because Petras left the game because of injury, Bryson Barnes goes out. Utah State had about, I want to say, 45 yards of total offense, and they're down 13-0 with 3 minutes left in the first half. And Bryson Barnes takes them right down the field. They get a touchdown with about a minute and a half left. And then San Diego State does a quick 3-and-out. The receiver runs out of bounds on the third down play, so Utah State doesn't have to use a timeout. And then what does Bryson Barnes do? Takes him right down the field and scores another touchdown on, and I'm sure you guys haven't had a chance to see it yet, but if you see it on SportsCenter, Barnes gets up at about the 12-yard line, does the fake spike, and throws to Grant Page, and Grant Page one-hand catches it in the corner of the end zone. It's ruled incomplete, and they go back and take a look at it, and sure enough, he had just a barely toe tap with the right foot, and they get the touchdown on the fake spike. And Utah State, in the span of about 3 minutes, goes down 13-0, looks complete dead in the water, to being up 14-13 at the break, and then they just pour it on in the second half. Bryson he runs for a school record as a quarterback, 193 yards on the ground. Dang. 193 running the ball for Bryson Barnes, and Utah State gives up a meaningless touchdown late, but wins that game 41-20 against San Diego State.
No offensive struggles there for Aggies.
No.
And and he's got another year eligibility. I
Yep.
told Lloyd that on Friday, and Lloyd's like, "What?" I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
He's got another year."
And he's going to be the guy next year. I don't anticipate. I talked to him a little bit. He was at our coach's show as the guest on earlier in the week, and you never know what guys are thinking. And I'm sure he's going to hold out and see who the new head coach is going to be. But as of right now, he's not planning on going anywhere. He's got some ties to Utah State, and he wants to hang out and finish his career there. But tell you what, whatever coach gets that. Oh, and Rasul Faison got rolled up on, and so he left the game for a good chunk of it. And so it was Bryson Barnes, these backup receivers, the offensive line, which most of them are going to be back next year, and then this, Herschel Turner and these young running backs. And I'm telling you, Hans, whoever is the next head coach at Utah State, they will inherit. Now, granted, you got to have everybody come back, and so you got to get on the phone and start recruiting as soon as you become the head coach at Utah State. But if they're able to return a good chunk of that offense, they're going to be locked and loaded offensively. All you have to do is retool that defense, who has given up about 43 points a game, but last week they gave up 10 to Hawaii, and then yesterday, outside of that gimme touchdown late, they gave up 13 points. And so this defense all of a sudden is playing, and most of those guys, because they went so young, because all these veterans got hurt, all those guys are coming back. So you just need to supplement a little bit from the portal.
Situation.
And their schedule is not nearly as difficult as it is this year. And so whoever gets that job, it's going to be a really nice situation for Utah State next year.
That's going to be a good situation, man. I just feel like there's so much winning potential up north. And, Rock was up there for that game, Scotty. He was going to go look for you. But I just said, Uncle Scotty doesn't have time for you. He's very busy. So
Stop it. I would have put him on a headset.
I said...
I think that's what he was afraid of.
He keeps his door shut. Don't eat his... I said he keeps his door shut. Don't eat his snacks. He will kick your butt. But he was up there with 3 other Utah State commits, and they're all excited to be teammates. And, they all got their Aggie gear on, and... Man, it's so cool. He was sending me pictures of him and his future teammates, and it's so cool. There's actually, with the coaching situation aside, there's a lot of excitement and momentum that's going on the exterior, because guys like DJ Talavea and Cooper Bassett and even Nate Dreiling, they have continued to recruit their butts off.
Oh, yeah.
They've continued to do everything they can to paint Utah State in a good light. And so you add the offensive side of the ball, you add the incoming class, you add this transfer portal that'll be inflated with a lot of talent, and it is a really good situation for a coach to come in and pick that job up. I think you can win.
I have little doubt you can win. And again, you got to hit on the right hire. And I got some stuff to tell you off the air. But there's some
Nobody
some
listens anyways. Tell us.
There's some interesting things brewing in that coaching search up at Utah State. But I will say that the names that are being thrown out there, I feel comfortable with pretty much all of them. And I don't know exactly who's going to get that job, but the 2 or 3 that I think are in the running for it, I think will take Utah State and take care of them pretty well. So unless there's a dark horse out there that I've not been aware of, but I think for the most part, the ones that are being highly considered at this point have a chance to get that thing going pretty quick. But we shall see.
Well, I can tell you that the rumors were rumbling with these recruits.
Oh, I bet.
And I know that the recruits are really happy with the names they hear. And so as I've talked to, my son, he's like, everybody's holding strong. Everybody's excited to be committed, and everybody likes the prospects of the one name in particular that's been bantied about often. So I can't wait for that to be finalized. When could Utah State fans maybe expect to hear something, Scotty?
I would be shocked. It won't be next week. They'll let the season finish out. They'll play Colorado State on Friday. I would anticipate you would have a head coach named that following week before the conference championship games the following weekend. That's my guess. I'm speculating at that point.
The following Friday?
Yeah, I think that following week they're going to move really quickly. And hey, let me just say this, Hans. If Utah State beats Colorado State, which I wouldn't put it past them at all, I think whether it's Petrus, I'm pretty sure Barnes is going to get the start. I think Petrus is pretty banged up, and I think he might be done. But Nate Dreiling said afterwards, he said, doesn't look great, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and get you updated on that. So if Bryson Barnes goes out and Utah State wins that game on Saturday or on Friday against Colorado State and finishes the year 5-7, but winning 4 out of their last 5 games, hey, I think Nate Dreiling still needs to be in the conversation.
Jeez. How do you not keep him in the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
How do you not say, so 4 or 5, how you doing there, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, what you thinking? Because you got to look at the front end of that schedule. Boise State, UNLV, USC, and Utah all stacked in there together. That was a whole big mess.
Circumstances of how it all, unfolded, like that wasn't easy for him.
No. All those ranked teams that they had to play.
And he was without Petrus.
Yeah. And
for early parts of the season.
And about 7 or 8 starters on the defense are, lost the year due to injury. So, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I've not heard that. I'm just saying, if I'm Nate Dreiling, I can go in there with my head held high and say, hey, what I've done to finish this year should stand on its own. And and again, he's got to beat Colorado State, which I think he can do. And then you go and say, hey, look, let's talk about this. Their one loss was to a ranked Washington State in this stretch. You beat Wyoming, you beat Hawaii, you beat San Diego State, and you could beat Colorado State.
I, for one, going on the record, would not be upset to hear Nate Dreiling's coming back. I just would not.
Yeah.
I would not be upset. I would have a lot of hope in my heart that they could figure some things out defensively. They're going to have to get some personnel, and they're going to have to get better defensively. But I think that Nate Dreiling is a very special human being with a lot of great coaching qualities. So it would not break my heart, and it would not break these recruits' hearts either. I can tell you that these recruits love that man. And that's a big, important aspect when you're trying to make that hire. But just to put Utah State fans' minds at ease a little bit, I feel like all the options that are out there are really good. And I also tell people that this Pac-12 adventure that they're about to embark on, it really is – it's piquing the interest of those potential prospects. And it's piquing the interest of boosters saying, well, maybe we do need to come up with $2 million. Maybe we do need to find an extra $500,000. Maybe we do need it to increase the coaching pool because, man, we want to be competitive in this new league, because this new league that they're building, it will be the primary feeder league for the college football playoff. And Utah State wants to be able to compete in that.
Yeah. Yep. All right, gentlemen. Any good stories, Hans, besides you seeing debauchery in its purest form in the parking lot?
Oh, my gosh, Scotty. Lloyd, when they stormed that field, I cannot believe. They brought the goalposts down. So those goalposts have a pin that you pull. It's this gigantic pin, and it drops the post so nobody can rip the goalposts down. And they dropped both the goalposts, And it's a manual lift, so you got to get like 20, 30 people up, and you got to clear out the place to even get those things back up and back in place. And they took as many of the student body as they could and shoved them back in the tunnels. And I still cannot believe there was not a flag for storming the field. Fans aside, just the arguments with the coaching staff and having players on the field, and I don't know how there wasn't a flag. And that flag would have been huge because that would have put BYU on the Arizona State 35.
Yeah.
And, when you're on the 35, you can run route concepts that will draw PI flags and will confuse and where you can actually bullet it into a route like they did against Oklahoma State. That was from the 35 when they scored that post Darius Lassiter for the last second touchdown. They would have had 1 second with a 35-yard toss if they would have done what they should. Do you think that they're going to get fined for that?
I'm not sure if the Big 12, I know the SEC sure has fines for that. They don't mess around. I think the Big 10 does too. I know for a fact the SEC does. I'm not sure if the Big 12 has a rule on that or not.
I heard you and Greg talking about it. So we did the Utah post game from Roland Hall, and we had to go a little bit earlier because we had so much going on yesterday. And so I was watching it on one of the Tech's computers. They had the game, and I was like, I was watching it, and so I stayed watching it, and all of a sudden I thought the game was over. And so I'm like, okay, I start walking to my car, and I get in the car, and there you and Greg talking about it. I'm like, wow, I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, it must have been absolute craziness.
2 yards shot.
It was craziness. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Craziest thing I've ever seen, man. To have that many people on the field and the game not over, and Kalani just keeping his cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he total cool cucumber the whole time. Never lost his mind. Just, they didn't need to call a flag. I mean, geez, just excited crowd. Dang. Sometimes you might want more fire out of your coach, but the truth is they got whooped in the first half.
Yeah.
They got beat to tar in the first half, and I was happy to see the trench turnaround.
By the way, so Utah State got a nice win against Iowa in basketball on Friday night, and one of the boosters who has a charter plane.
That's a great win.
He had a bunch of his buddies and some other boosters that were flying out to the game, and so he said, "Let's get you back in time for that football game. Why don't you hop on this charter with us?" So I'm like, "Okay." So after the game, we're all heading back to the plane, and we had that plane. It was a 7-seater with 2 seats up front for the pilot and the co-pilot. And there was no co-pilot, just a pilot. Well, Jared Calhoun made some arrangements to come back on the plane with us, the head coach of the Aggies. And so that means that we're short a seat. And I said, well, if you need somebody to sit up front, I'll sit with the co-pilot, or I'll sit with the pilot in the co-pilot seat, because I thought that'd be cool anyway. And
sure.
So they're like, well, yeah, if you're willing to do that. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. So I hop up in this co-pilot seat, and the pilot is just cool as hell. Just a really good dude, super young guy. But we're, and I'm just blistering him with all kinds of questions about, like, well, what does this button do? What does this button do? He's like, don't touch that. Don't touch that. So we're descending into Logan, and he's like, do you want to take the controls? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. And so he said, all right, your stick is now live. Go ahead. And so I'm holding on to this, and he's like, all right, now just kind of bank us a little bit to the left. Let me just say, those controls are really touchy, like super, super touchy. and we may have made a real hard bank left. And he's
No way.
And he's like, okay, we're done here, and turn those controls off and took control back.
Man, you almost killed the Big Bopper.
I almost Richie Valenced.
Oh my gosh, that is wild.
I mean, those are
Billy,
some touchy controls, man.
Billy, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
This stick here is it's touchy.
Have you guys remember that movie Airplane?
Oh, yeah.
When the little kids up front. Billy,
Just the
he's
three
asking
of
all
us.
those dumb questions.
Yes, just the three of us remember that.
Only the three.
Only the three
man.
of us.
Well, I'm glad you didn't wreck everybody, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm just sending you some pictures of what it was like up front. But man, it was really cool. But yeah, he's like, yeah, you want to take control? I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then I'm like, I look over and I'm like, so your hand's off the wheel? He's like, yeah. He's like, all right, so I can officially say I'm flying the plane right now. He's like, yeah, you can say that. I'm like, okay, because I am. And then we banked hard left, and that did not go over well. And you heard some people in the back go, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it. We're okay.
Everybody just keep your
Calm-
seatbelts on.
Calm it down back there.
You got an outside picture? I need to see an outside picture of that plane, what it looked like.
Yeah.
The cockpit's pretty sweet.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive.
Oh, it is too early. It is too early.
It was the best movie in the history of movies.
You know how much trouble they'd get into if they made that movie today?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The whole thing might come tumbling down.
I love it. Scotty, you got your lawyer's jacket on.
Yeah. I
Love
wore
the
that
lawyer's
just for
jacket.
you, Lloyd.
I love that jacket, man.
By the way, Kansas City barbecue's no joke either. Holy smokes. That's some
I
good
saw
stuff.
that tray.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us. Hope everybody has a great Sunday. Lloyd, who do your Raiders have today? Who are you going to get a win against today?
I don't know. I don't watch the Raiders. I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking
stop
about.
it.
I hope they. You know what? You know we picked up Bo Nix on Xavier. I had him pick up Bo Nix on his fantasy team.
Good.
Yeah.
Let Xavier cheer for a real quarterback.
I'm rooting for a Broncos win.
There you go. All right, that does it for us. That's your morning after. We'll be back with you tomorrow at noon. You'll hear from Nate Dreiling. You'll hear from Kalani Sataki. You'll hear from Kyle Whittingham. It's a busy Monday, as it always is, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This has been your Morning After podcast with Hans, Scotty, and Lloyd Cole. Catch more of the Hans and Scotty Show weekdays from noon to 3 and in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your podcasting platform of choice. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.